When you look at the rest of the division, I mentioned Arizona, really a program that over the last couple of years, after getting to a Fiesta Bowl against Boise State, is having issues keeping up in the division. The defense has been awful since Scooby Wright was so injured his last season. Arizona State's a program that Todd Graham has talked big when he stepped in, and they took off with a 10-win season. They won a bowl game over Duke, I believe the Sun Bowl that year, and since then they've had their issues playing defense, especially.
Yeah, Arizona and Arizona State, two teams. We'll start with the Wildcats. I mean, from a talent perspective, I think they're going in the opposite direction. You look at the finesse of the offensive line, that's a cause of concern. They rushed for 235 yards per game last year under Rich Rod, but since Anu Solomon got hurt in that offense, Anu Solomon did transfer. He's now at Baylor. But, I mean, this is an offense in Arizona that only had 13 total passing touchdowns in 2016, put a lot of pressure on the defense. They struggled in third down situations. And unless this team can make a huge turnaround, I think they're in the bottom of the Pac-12 for the division. I think they're 3-9 overall. Again, 1-8 last year in conference, struggled, didn't play better against some of the better teams. Yeah, they took Washington to the limit, but that was the only game. The rest of the year, from that point on, they really gave in to the more physical teams in the conference. And you see the teams like an Oregon State with Gary Anderson that wants to play more of a physical style of attack. You see California with Justin Wilcox that's going to want to run the football much more this year in 2017 than they did under Sonny Dykes. You see a coach in Willie Taggart from Oregon who predicates a physicality on the offensive line. So again, the teams in the conference are shying away from the spread offensive attack and becoming more blue collar, more physical. Look at Colorado, look at USC. So again, I think this is a team in Arizona that will struggle because of that, because of their offense and defensive lines. They're more of a finesse type of style under Rich Rod. You look at Arizona State. Here's a team, and intriguing statistics overall. In terms of scoring differential with Todd Graham in his 5 years there, last year was the first year that they were negative in scoring differential in terms of scoring output versus scoring defense. So they were negative for the first time under Todd Graham's tutelage. That's a cause of concern entering the 2017 season. You're talking about a secondary that allowed 357 total yards in FBS. That was the worst statistical passing secondary in college football, 128 out of 128 teams. Offensively, the first 4 games of the year, they rushed for over 150 yards in those games. They were 4-0 overall. The last 8 games of the year, they were 1-7, and they did not rush for over 150 yards in any one of those games. And you're talking about an offensive line that allowed 41 sacks last year. So again, physicality on the offensive line is lacking. That puts a lot of pressure on Manny Wilkins. They have Village coming back. But again, I think this team is overall 5-7 because of the defensive struggles in the secondary.